very great and excellent professors doing research, life science related research there. And Dr. Zhu received her bachelor degree from Tsinghua University, and actually it's nothing related to life science, it's from power mechanical engineering department, 动机系. And in 2007, which is not too far ago, and got her master's degree. Then she came here to our college, and so under the supervision, guidance of Professor Jiang Anshi, and received her master's degrees in 2009, and then she went on to do a PhD also with Dr. Jiang. And in between, she went to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. If you know that this is one of the most prestigious life science research institute in the States. And she went there in 2012 to 2013, and then come back to finish her PhD. So she also did her postdoc here with with Professor Jiang Anshi, but due to her excellent performance, so she got actually a couple awards for her postdoc. One is from Academia Sinica, Distinguished Postdoc Research, and the other is from MOST, that is Ministry of Science and Technology, which is independent postdoc awards. This is, if you know that this is a pretty good award that give you money for your salary and for your research fund. So you have your own salary and research fund. You're kind of independent. We only have a very few this type of reward each year issued by MOST. Professor Zhu got lots of rewards. When I brought her CV, it's too many to read them all. But I just select a few. And she got, in 2023, she got the Best Technology Breakthrough Award from the Future Technology Exhibition. This is kind of a national largest science and technology exhibition hosted by the government. And out of 200-300 applicants, they only select like a few dozen, so pretty competitive. And she also got National Innovation Award, 新创奖, 国家新创奖 is also a very important award. And also she actually, the Future Technology Exhibition Award was her second one. First, she got in 2018, she already got that reward the first time, got the same rewards, and also got the Best Media Attention Award. That means her research is so attractive, so got a lot of the media attention and the coverage. In addition to that, when she did her PhD and also postdoc study, she got lots of those presentation awards and conference or paper awards. In addition to those awards, why she can get so many awards? Because Professor Zhu had lots of important and excellent papers published in the past few years. Most recently, she published a paper in PNAS, which is the first topic she's going to present. And she told me that this is actually her PhD, master, it was like 9 years ago, 15 years. So that is a lesson for you, never give up. I mean, you might sometimes you get the study, but you put it aside, and many years later, we can come back and get it published. It might publish in a really good journal. So she also published in this year alone, she published several very good paper on top tier journals like ACS Nano, Advanced Materials, or eLife, and also before, in the past few years, she had published papers on current biology, advanced science, and a couple of Nature Communications papers, and also participated in the science paper as one of the most famous paper published by Dr. Jiang Nanxi. And finally, what exactly she does? She works on. She mainly works on in her graduate study. She studied neurobiology using fruit-like Drosophila as a model animal, and in the past few years, she focused on microscopy technology. We know that the microscope is the most important tools in biology, and in past 100 or even 200 years, the advance of biology mostly is coupled by advance of technology in microscopy. And Professor Zhu developed several really good, impressive technology, super resolution microscopy in this field, and I believe she will going to show you many beautiful pictures of a nervous system or other biological system. Without further ado, let's welcome Professor Zhu.
Thanks for the really warm introduction from Dr. Luo, and I'm so happy to be here today. And I actually, this is the most nervous, talk that I gave this entire year, because I used to sit there. Usually, our entire lab is sitting around here, and it was like, 15 years ago, when I was still a master and fresh PhD student. We listened to the great scientists talk on the stage, and I had the privilege to sit standing here to share some of my work to you, and that is so exciting. And I've seen so many, actually when I was first year PhD student, Dr. Luo actually joined this college, and I took his class, and it's too difficult. So I decided I'm not smart as him, so I'm not going to do theoretical neuroscience, but I turned into some hardware design that now allow me to work with them, work with these super smart people that can help us understand more about the brain. So this is actually the very first time, and the only time I think, I will talk about the first part of this talk, the thirsty-driven hypersensation, behavior changes in Drosophila. And the reason is this is actually the last piece of my my work as a PhD student, and we just wrapped up this year and published it, and it was really cool. And I also want to show you why it takes so long, and I want to encourage at least some of you, not disencourage, but encourage you that every story have their way out. So don't give up if your paper gets scooped. Okay. And the second part is AI-empowered multi-scale microscopy image. I'll talk about the work that I've done for the past 5 years in my lab. So as Professor Luo just introduced, I have a really interesting background. I graduated from mechanical engineering department, and at the 4th year, I started to apply for master degree. I applied many, also the master degree in mechanical engineering, but I also like life science a lot. So I decided I will go for a try, and then I just the funny story is so I didn't know which lab I should go. So I sent email to all the dean by then, and see who gonna reply me, and I'll ask his help. I'll tell him that, okay, I will join your lab. And Professor Zhang is actually the only one answer my email. So that's the story that why I joined Professor Zhang's lab. And I was really grateful, because if it wasn't his patience and endured me to spend 6 months, doesn't understand anything in his lab, and was keep telling me what's the important, how great to do neuroscience, I wouldn't have the brave to continue my work till I got the PhD. And during that time, I had a really good chance to go Coastal Harbor under the supervision by Professor Glenn Turner. And he's now in Genelia. He is one of the very few people in the world that can do electrophysiology in vivo in flies. You know how tiny the fly is? It's less than a rice. So you can imagine you have to open their skull and then put a needle there, and when they're still behaving. So it's super hard, but it's super fun to be in his lab and learn a lot of new tools. And actually, that's the time period that I learned you can actually build microscopy yourself. Because in Professor Zhang's lab, if you ever visiting Brain Research Center in Tsinghua, you will see a lot of expensive microscopy that's sold by those top four, big four microscopy company. But in Glenn's lab, you won't see that kind of tool. You see they build microscopy by themselves. And that's why I'll come back, and then I actually joined Academic Sinica and work in Bizhang Chen's lab. I will see one of his picture later, and to learn how to build light sheet microscopy. So now the student in my lab can be divided into different groups. They can choose what I want to do, and you'll see how much I thankful for their effort to really build entire pipeline from doing animal behavior to tissue processing to bill microscopy and to do image analysis. So everyone can find their talent in my lab, and I'm so happy to have them. Okay, and so this is now where I am, just next door. So you are most welcome if you wanted to learn more about my work, and just step by. Okay, just like 100-meter away. Okay, so a little bit background introduction. So, but back in 2013, I had a really good chance to work with Dr. Lin Huihao, and he is now a professor in the US. And I worked with him in this CO2 shunting signaling pathway detection, and he is really talented. He's the very first person I know published Cell paper, Science paper, and Nature paper before he got a faculty position in the US. And he got his Cell and Science in here at the same department. So you guys are the next superstar. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, and so this is about circuit analysis. And because of my engineer background, I also wanted to do automatic system design. So in 2014, we built a system to train the fly in a different way. So we're able to build an automatic system, laser tracking system that allow us to train the male fly to stay away from female. And if you're really interested in that, is really cool story, and we're still working on it till today. So this is what the lab member, okay, not me, like our entire lab effort to publish in the past few years. And this is the first topic I wanted to talk about today. And this is a very long research project. A little bit background. So people know in Simon Benser's lab back in 1996, people already know that fly can detect the difference of humidity level in different environments. So they have done this very simple but elegant experiment that they just put the fly in these teammates and allow them to choose from high humidity area and from low humidity area. And they found that most of the fly will prefer the dry area. Okay, and that's because evolution-wise say that if they stay in the wet area for too long, their wing will get wet and they won't be able to move. So that's why they prefer to stay in the dry area. Okay, so Professor Benzer is there, and their group is already found that these little tiny organ on their face, which is the antenna, is responsible for detecting humidity changes. But after this, it takes a very long long time till people start to know what's the sensory neurons that is detecting the humidity changes. And so back in 2009, we already know there are like so many, we're trying, so in Professor Zhang's lab, different PhD students are working in different like sensory organs, olfactory, vision, auditory, and humidity and thermal. So there are like many papers published in his lab that are working on different sensory systems and sensory circuits. So my job is doing I like to work on humidity sensing because the behavior is so easy. So back in 2014, we already know a series of circuits that's responsible for humidity difference detecting and responsible for their hypopaxis, meaning that why they go into the dry area instead of the wet area. And we even have this beautiful electrophysiology data that's been done in Cold Spring Harbor, and we know that there are some projection neurons that directly contact the sensory neuron that's sensing the dry air and to the central brain. Unfortunately, this is done by 2014, right? And we actually submit several, manuscripts to different journals, but this is the nightmare of every PhD student. So in 2016 and 17, there are a series of papers published about they identifying the dry sensing neuron and the wet sensing neuron. Okay, this is the dry sensing neuron and this is the wet sensing neuron. So and I actually graduated by 2016. So I don't think if I have any, motivation to continue by then. It's like, this is the end of the world. This is the end day of my, 5 years of work. But then, it's really good to have to work with your PhD advisor in the same university. So he didn't give up. So back in 2019 or something, after I published the super resolution paper, there's another PhD student who was still in Dr. Zhang's lab by then, wanted to help me to go through it, who is Dai Zhuyi. So she's now working in UCSD right now. And so she said that she can help me to accomplish it. So we go back and then, look through our data and think, what else can we do? So we have done this. Okay, I'll just use the point here. Okay. So what we did is that we systematically test which humidity level is prefer the most, and if their behavior is gonna change after they're thirsty. So indeed, we designed a very systematic machine, and then we found that the fly can prefer 30% of relative humidity out of all the other humidity level. So we decided in the following experiment, we want to make sure we let the fly choose from their favorite humidity versus the others. And one interesting thing is, when people publish this paper, they only say these neurons are responsive to dry stimuli or wet stimuli, but they didn't say if the wet stimuli or the dry stimuli led the fly to a specific area. So that's what we did. So we used optogenetics to photoactivate these neurons from the dry neuron and the wet neuron, and found really interesting phenomena that, in theory, if this is the only two humidity sensory neurons, they should make the fly go to the dry area, as they should do, right? But the outcome is that if you activate the dry sensory neuron here, the fly will be showing will show a avoidance behavior. On the contrary, if you activate the wet sensing neuron here, the fly will give you a attraction behavior. So the summation of these two behavior is that these two signal only let the fly go to the wet environment instead of the dry one. So this is exactly the behavior performed in the thirsty fly, not the normal fly. So there has to be something else happening in the normal fly. There has to be some other neurons responsible for this dry approaching behavior. So this is what we did next. So we rescreened a lot of different nootropic receptors, and we found, in addition to IL-48 and IL-68, which is identified before, and we found another receptor, which is IL-8A, that is also critical for flies hypotaxis. So we did a series of